And now I don't care if I have at the end of the month have 50 cents in my bank account. I'm the motherfucker that goes for it and like is not afraid to push, try things, and learn, invest. And if I have to contract at some point, like fuck it, who cares? Oh look, he failed. I'm like, oh bro, I haven't even started yet. Like, just watch, motherfucker.
Are you ready to become the dad you were meant to be? Good, because this is the Epic Dad Legacy Podcast, where imperfect actions are better than perfect ideas, promises kept are more important than promises made, and nothing happens unless you make it happen. My name is Drew, father of three, and founder of the Epic Dad Company. My mission is to help dads up their game and become the husbands, fathers, and men they're called to be. We need epic dads now more than ever. And it is your responsibility and obligation to become the best father you can be and show your kids what is possible. Listen in for weekly tips, strategies, and actions you can take to go from average dad to epic dad. Thanks for listening. Now let's start the episode. What is up, guys? Hey, welcome back to the Epic Dad Legacy Podcast. This is your host, Drew Camp here, the founder of the Epic Dad Company. Hey, if you are new here, I want to say thank you for being here. My mission with this podcast and with the company is simple and straightforward. It is to help you level up as a dad and become the husband, father, and man you are called to be. Because our country, our society, our culture desperately needs dads to step up and start leading. And so my hope is that you can take some piece of value from this content, from this episode, from our company, and use that on a tactical and practical level inside your life as a dad to start stepping up and leading the way you're capable. Today, we have got a very special episode for you guys. Today is actually episode 100, 100. It's cliche, but it's true. It feels like yesterday that I finally got the balls and the courage to press record and just start talking. And the show has grown by leaps and bounds since then. And that is all thanks to you guys and your support of our mission and this show. And so, I'm super grateful for that. And I'm super excited that we've reached episode 100. But we are just at the beginning. I feel like we are closing the first chapter and opening the next. We have, closed the bottom of the first inning, so to speak, and we're going now into the second inning. And so, we just super grateful for all the support, guys. And it just goes to show you too that you just need to take action, right? If you have something that's calling you to step forward, you have to have that step of faith, right? That you don't know what's going to happen, but you need to take action and take it consistently. And before you know it, you'll be at episode 100. And hopefully we're a lot better now than we were at episode 1. But please do go back and listen to episode 1 and listen all the way through it. And hopefully you'll see that the value that we provide has gotten exponentially greater and will continue to get greater as we go. So thank you guys so much for the milestone for episode 100. And because it's episode 100, I wanted to bring on a very special guest. Today we have got on Kyle Carnohan. Now, Kyle is the founder and leader of the movement. I mean, there's no better way to put it than movement of Superhuman Fathers. And Superhuman Fathers started as a fitness program to help get Kyle's firefighter friends back into shape. But it quickly evolved into a massive movement, helping dads all across the world to start fulfilling their potential. And I tell you what, guys, every time I talk with Kyle, I feel like I level up as a human being. I feel like I get this clarity around my purpose, around my values, around the actions that I should be taking. And Kyle just had this special and unique gift to pull out the best in people. And so I hope you guys get as much value from this talk as I did with Kyle. Make sure that you break out a notepad and a pen and take copious amounts of notes. I know that I sure did during the episode. Today, Kyle and I talk about the real reason you feel stuck and how to break out of it. We talk about why you feel unmotivated and how to 10x your action. And we talk about how to step into the man you are being called to be. So, guys, this is a great episode. This is actually Kyle's second time being on the show. And I hope you guys get a lot of value from it. With that, let's hop into this episode with Kyle Carnohan from Superhuman Fathers.
Good friend Kyle Carnohan. What is up, brother?
We're back, bro.
We're back, man. Round two.
Fuck it. Is this round two? Is that what it is?
This is round two. Yeah. Your bro came on. We chatted up a little bit, and then this episode, believe it or not, is gonna drop as episode 100. And I think we had you. Yeah, man. We had you on as like episode 20 or in the teens or something like that. We're kind of just getting started, man. And, 1, 2, jump a few, and all of a sudden we're at episode 100. And so that's why I wanted to bring you on, man, specifically of like, it's 100, man. We got to freaking bring the fire, dude.
And we both come so fucking far. And coming far sometimes means stepping into the fucking unknown, dude.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's what we were talking. We'll get into that right before we hopped on. I think we were, I was about to like busting at tears. We'll get into it. But Kyle, for guys that don't know you, I'm sure most everybody does that's listening. But for those that don't, tell them who you are, where you come from, what you're doing now.
Yeah, I'm Kyle Carnohan. I'm father of 5, married 21 years to a wife who runs a movement called Warrior Mom Fitness, which is exploding right now, by the way. And I started a movement called Superhuman Fathers while I was in the firehouse. 15 years as a firefighter paramedic, and it just grew so fast that I had to choose whether I was going to do it for full time or try to juggle both or just do it part time. And I decided to jump all in, and then we've almost had 1,000 guys through our program now in the last 2.5 years. Multi-million-dollar coaching business, shit that I don't know anything about. Been some air of education, and just on the road to becoming the best in the world at what I do.
Yeah. What do you help dads do inside Superhuman Fathers?
So I take our target now, as I've changed, our target's changed. I am very much attached to the man who is an elite man who looks at his life and is like, it kills him that he is working towards being his best. So a lot of these guys make money, they have businesses, but in that pursuit of pouring themselves into their business, having kids over the course of decades, they find themselves usually in their late 30s, 40s, sometimes 50s, where they've just let themselves go. And they look in the mirror and they're like, how the fuck did I get here? So now they're running out of energy, which is the energy that they need in order to build more, to connect more with their wife. So now you got all this fat on your body, you're soft, you're pasty, but you're in this position of freedom where you want to have more sex, more connection with your wife. You want to take your business to the next level, which is going to require the next level of leadership. But when you walk in with your gut hanging over your pants and you're out of breath from getting out of your car, like no one's going to follow you to the ends of the earth and step into the depths with you. No one's going to war with you. So they're not following you because of you. They're following you because of what you've done, not who you are. And so we want to take a guy who's really crushing it and turn him into fucking Leonidas.
Yeah. And, I mean, it looks like you're doing it too.
we have hundreds of them. Bypass 300. You have more than 300.
Yeah. No, man, I'm seeing your transformations. I mean, obviously there's the physical component, right? Of like looking at a left and right image and seeing the obvious transformation there. But I think that the bigger transformation is what you're talking about is all on the mental side, and it's like, it's things that I've gone through and like gone back and forth and we can talk about the consistency of it. Right. But it's like, if I am in that zone and I am disciplined, I'm showing up at the gym, then like, the discipline it takes for you to get to that level of physique, it's naturally going to bleed over to other areas of your life. Like, it's not just about getting the muscles, about getting the abs. Like, that is a natural byproduct of you showing up like as you are capable of. So talk to me about that, like the actual mental transformation that you see guys have.
Well, it's like a feedback loop. So like the appearance is important because the way you see yourself is the way you show up. And so it is important for these guys to get jacked because they wake up in the mirror and they see something that would be someone that would be in a movie leading a fucking army as the hero of the movie in the mirror. So they see that and they're like, fuck, is that me? Like, well, what? This guy looks like he could do some shit. And then when he walks in a room, he gets treated very different than if he walks in with skinny T-Rex arms and a belly. Like when that guy has shoulders wider than his waist, his chest sticks out farther than his belly, he's got a bicep vein and some traps. Like, people are like, this motherfucker's dangerous, especially when he's old. He got some gray in him. It's like, and he makes money. You're like, this fucking guy's dangerous. And so there's almost a little bit of intimidation from this guy. But when this guy can be authentic and actually give a shit about people, there's this shocking effect that happens because people assume that, like just with your presence, when you are that high level, you make certain people just insecure with your presence. And when you love them and give them a safe place to be with you and just be cool, like, they're like, holy shit. And then they see your mistakes and how you're kind of an idiot. And then they're like, I see myself in you, and yet you're winning so fucking hard. I think I can do this. So it's my job to win, show how actually dumb I am and very average, and then give them the path and the belief in themselves that, like, motherfucker, look, I make a lot of mistakes. Like, all I did was just put my head down and go and face my fear and do the shit I didn't want to do when I didn't want to do it. That was it.
Yeah. Well, I think on the flip side of that too, you're talking about like looking in the mirror and people, you know, seeing that kind of physical presence, right? And it has an effect on them. But I think there's the flip side of that. When you look in the mirror and you see something you built and you're proud of, that's going to help you show up in that way, right? Like, it's hard to show up in that way unless you're proud of the things you've done and proud of the way you look.
Yeah, and there's like my son this morning, like, I've been getting my 12-year-old up to go to the gym with us, and like, I give him a full speech every morning because he started kind of lying and doing some shit, and got to the point where I was like, all right, you're in my pocket then. You are with me all day, every day. I'm going to teach you some shit. And so he goes to the gym with us every morning, and he's like, wakes up this morning, he's like, is it leg day? This is so bummed. I was like, I know, bro. I know. I was like, this right here's the moment. This is the moment in everything in your life. Like, when you have a project to do, when you're a dad and you get home from a long day at work and all you want to do is disappear and play fucking video games and drink a beer, but you know your family needs you. Like, it's the same shit. When you have to invest some money in a very scary situation, and you have to leave your job to start your business, like, all this shit is just stepping into the pain, the fear, and the fire over and over and over again, and becoming a guy that gets used to that. He was asking me, Dad, what's the hardest thing you've ever done? I go, dude, I think like the fire academies I did, like when you're halfway through, I was like, you know how you feel right now going to leg day? I was like, multiply that times 100. And like that's the fucking, your third fire academy, and you're an old man, and you're like, fuck me. Like, everything in your body's screaming when you get up in the morning, and you did night training, and then you wake up and you got 3 hours of sleep, and your legs and arms are cramping, and you know they're just going to fuck you up, and you're going to be out of breath all day, and you might fail. It's like, and he's like, why would you do that? Do you get paid a lot of money to do that? I go, no. And he's like, why would you do that? I go, well, look at my life, my boy. You think I could do what the fuck I do now if I didn't go through that? He's like, no, I guess not. I go, why? He's like, because you get used to doing hard stuff. I go, that's it. So that's why we get up every day. That's why we go do leg day. I was telling you earlier, like, I'm doing fucking leg day for like the 15th year in a row, and it's horrendous, and my legs ain't growing. Like, I don't see it. At this point, I don't see any change in my physique, bro. Like, it's the same. So it's like, you know, I'm going now just because it's hard and it keeps my mind right, and then I get to maintain this level of resilience and athleticism as I age. So, you know, like, I'm trying to push, but the actual visual changes, like, I don't see much.
Yeah. Like, you talked, we were kind of talking a little bit before, right, about there's these different levels, of like, you have a kid, right, and all of a sudden you want to step up and be more responsible than you were before, right, and you start doing these hard things, and then like maybe you have kid number 2, and like it gotta hit you again, right? You have this moment where you're looking in the mirror and you start doing hard things again, right? And then maybe there's this moment where you transition to running a business or doing something else, right? And it's like it all starts over again, right? Like you continue climbing up this mountain, and there's these little, I think Bezos gives the kind of visual, and I'll probably butcher it here, but it's like you're climbing up this mountain, and there's little like plateaus, right? Like you get up a little bit and you hit a plateau, and then there's a bear there at the plateau, and like you have to fight that bear at that plateau. And then you're like, cool, I'm good. I fought the bear. Let me go up the mountain here. I can get to the top. But then it's like, no. It's like you hit another plateau and there's another bear there, right? And like it's just continually going up, continually fighting the fucking bear. Yeah, these different bears, and like you never get to the top.
Pretty soon you're fighting like 100 bears, and you're like, how the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
figure out a new plan. What worked last time isn't going to work on 100 bears.
Yeah, man. But I think one of the things I love about you, Kyle, is like the way that you bring the message out, though, right? It's not like, you're shredded. Your whole family's freaking like cut up, dude. But you're not like, hey, I'm this huge, fitness influencer that knows every answer to every question, and I'm just the most disciplined guy in the world, and that's why I am the way I am. I mean, it's like you're very open and transparent about some of the struggles you've been through. That opens up that vulnerability to where other people can see themselves in you. And I think that when you talk about the fitness industry and people getting into better shape industry, I feel like one of the biggest like issues of concern is just that it's so unrealistic a lot of times, right? It's these people that are like, this is all I do, this is my life, and I'm perfect. Every single diet is 100% perfect. Like I never am challenged with anything. And it's like, well, I don't see myself in that because I have 3 kids and one of them was up all fucking night last night, so like help me please, like, am I on the right path? And I think you do a great job of that.
Yeah, I think it's important to share that, like, most of the time I don't want to fucking go to the gym. And in reality, like, I don't obsess over fitness at all. Like, I go to the gym for 45 minutes and then I just have my plan for my career. And then I don't think about it. Like, I don't think about fitness all day. I'm not like studying about the next level of bicep curl. Like, I don't obsess over it. I want to simplify this shit for everyone to where they realize, like, this is actually very fucking easy. In the moment when you don't want to go, it's kind of hard, but it's so simple. The actual plan itself to put into place is so fucking simple. And there's so much information out there about, like, these guys that don't matter at all, like, at all, that are filling their heads. And it's like a lot of guys, like, I just had one of my one-on-ones pay me $25,000 for 3 months. He's like, the best thing I got from you? I'm like, what's that? He's like, how easy this actually is. He's like, my whole life I thought this was fucking hard. And like working with you now, I realize it's easy. This isn't very simple. It's very easy. I was like, you're welcome. Like, now you'll be lean for the rest of your life now because I gave you all the very simple pieces that you need to focus on, and all the rest you can just throw out and stop obsessing over it, getting weird and watching fucking fitness YouTube videos and shit. What's your business? Like, take care of your wife, take care of your kids, and just do this thing every day, and it will literally take no more than an hour out of your life, like, every day, to follow this plan.
Yeah, I mean the plan is easy, right? I mean it's just X's and O's for the most part, right? As to get in shape. We can dive into what those are, but yeah.
Fuck the X's, just
yeah, it's pretty easy, right? I mean, the hard part is actually doing it, right? I mean, the information, you can go Google workout plan and get like 8 billion results and probably follow any of them to a T, and like you'll get results. But like the hard part is actually following it, right? And so like, tell me, one of the things that I'm just blown away by from you is the discipline, right? Is I don't want to go to the gym, but I'm going to go anyway, right? So like, and that is the hardest part of any type of transformation is the discipline of sticking to it and consistency over time. So like, have you always had that? And what things do you do to kind of drive that discipline?
So like having a very compelling vision of who the fuck I am is very important. Like this vision of the man that I must become. And then I need to surround myself with people that remind me, because I fall asleep too, where I'll forget why I'm doing what I'm doing. Once you forget why you're doing what you're doing, you're in a very sketchy spot, because your habits can fall off very easily. So like, and this is why I've always gravitated towards like really obsessed, powerful coaches like Wes Watson, like Andy Elliott, Garrett White. I've been spending so much time with Garrett because when I'm around him, I see what's at stake. I see my greatness. I see where I'm going. And I realize that I have that same power for my people, which is why they come to me. Because when they're around me, they see how big of a deal this is. They're reminded that when they become this man, and while they stay on this path, they are fulfilling their purpose in life. And they feel God's voice louder when they're around me. Like that, like really that's the key to being a good leader in this game of leading men. So when they're around you, they connect to God and they can feel their purpose. And they like they almost in that moment are being rebuked by God when they're around you, which actually feels good. It feels good to see clearly. There's kind of this apology and this repentance that comes out where you're just like, I'm so sorry, God. Like I for some reason I lost it. I lost my path. But if I can remind them and show them that, then they're back on. Like it's not necessarily accountability, it's just reminding them. Like get back on track. And if I can do that quickly, like our systems are set up now to where we have daily contact with our guys. So like I'll have a guy fall off for a day, but then he comes to check in the next day, he's back on track. So if I can catch guys when they fall asleep, slap them, wake them up in a day, they won't do what they normally do, which is fall asleep for weeks, months, years, and then really go deep and have to in order to get to where they currently are.
Yeah. I think there's two things on that. Like one is you said surround yourself with other people, right, that are on that journey or can inspire you, motivate you, keep you accountable, and remind you of that vision that you have for your life, right? That's one piece of it. And I think the other piece too is self accountability. And there's some things that I have done that kind of help me on the track, right? Because I have bad days. Like trust me, I have some bad fucking days, right? But I try not to let that turn into a bad 2 days, right, or a bad 3 days. And I think that's where guys really get into trouble. Is everybody's gonna have a bad fucking day, man? Everybody is, you know. But how can you make sure that doesn't snowball negatively into a week, into a month, and then all of a sudden you look in the mirror and I'm 20 pounds, 30 pounds overweight, and I feel like shit, and I'm showing up for my family like shit, you know. So like one thing that I've done, I'd love to get your perspective on it and see if you guys do anything like this. Is like daily non-negotiables, right? Of like, regardless of how I feel, I'm going to get these things done today, right? And I have 6 non-negotiables, and I like I said, I try to get them done every single day. But there's not a day that goes by that, or not 2 days to go by where I don't do it, right? There may be a day I fall off, but then I'm right back on it. And so it's no snooze button ever is number 1. Number 2 is to connect with my identity statement in the morning. So we have something inside the Epic Dad Company we call our identity statement that we craft. It's kind of similar to what you're talking about, right? My vision, like how I want to show up in the world. So we say that out loud. Like that's a statement that we come up with that's important to us, that we literally physically put that out in the world in the morning before we show up. So that's 2. 3 is super simple, but it's just hydrate in the morning, right? 24 ounces of water in the morning. 4 is 10,000 steps a day. 5 is some type of personal development work every day, whether that's reading 10 pages or a podcast, but something to fill my mind. And then lastly is to track my food. And so, that can be, depending upon what cycle you're in, and what your goal is, that can be a number of different ways. It could be just, hey, let me just make sure I'm not going above my calorie count, right? Or let me get a little bit more in detail, and I'll make sure I hit my protein and my calories. And then if you're like going all in, and wanting to cut down, like you're tracking every freaking thing that you put in your mouth. So there's different cycles through that, but like you need to know what's going into your body to fuel yourself. So like those are the 6. And like I said, there may be some days where I fuck up and I miss 1 or 2 and I had a bad day, right? It may be a day where I feel like shit. Kid was up all night and I hit the snooze button. I have a moment of weakness, But okay, cool. I need to reflect on that, and then I need to get right back in the ring on the next day and hit those non-negotiables. So like, like I said, that's just helped me take one bad day and not have that snowball into a bad week and a bad month. So like, what do you think of kind of non-negotiable things that you need to be doing every day to keep yourself from falling off?
Yeah, gamifying is massive. Well, like, and we have a program called the Awakening. It's a 90-day program, and in that program, we start guys off with 2 simple ideas: the body and the soul. Both are very connected. You both feed each other. So our game is 3 points, and we actually put less points on the body and more points on the soul, which ends up giving more power to the consistency on the body side. So very simple. Macros within 10% every day, half a point. Your workout as prescribed, half a point. 15 minutes of scripture study, and we do a stack every day, which was a partnership I made with Garrett White, with Wake Up Warrior, to get access to some of the stuff that he built, and then we added some things to it, moved some things, and turned it into the SHF Warrior app, to where guys can go in and connect to God, connect to themselves, connect both of that to the purpose of why they're doing what they're doing. Because if I truly believe there is a God, then I'm going to go all in, meaning if I believe in God, God could speak to me. Otherwise, why? Then I don't believe. So if God can speak to me, then he can tell me what my purpose is. He can also tell me where my body fits in on that. What is the weapon that I need to build to serve my purpose for him? And so now when I hit my macros or go to the gym, I am serving God, serving my fellow man, I'm serving my children. I'm becoming the exemplary leader, not just as a father, but a spiritual leader to the world. As a light on the hill, there's a lot more meaning behind this when the alarm goes off. Like, I'm literally living my spiritual purpose connected to my Creator. And I'm honoring the gift of my body that I've been given. So there's a heaviness to that. With that heaviness is a give a shit. The problem why people don't consistently hit their targets is because they have too many moments where they get the fuckets and they forget and they don't care. I've talked to so many men that have gotten so dark and so deep in their lives, and they're completely destroying their family with their decisions, and they cognitively know that they shouldn't do this, but their heart, they don't give a shit. They can't feel it because they've been protecting themselves so long that they can feel nothing. So it's my job to wake them the fuck up and make them feel. And that is sometimes a very scary and painful experience with me, because I will wake you the fuck up. And we're gonna go to a place where, like, oh shit, Kyle's kind of an asshole, but there's a technique behind it. Like, I know how to wake you up. And then once I wake you up, okay, welcome back to the land of feeling again. And once you feel, now you care. And once you care, you'll move. You'll do what's required. And it's my job to keep you in that place of give a shit at a very high level. If I can keep you there, you're going to keep making progress.
Yeah, I think it's just tying the little things to a bigger purpose, right? Because it's like, let's just talk about the alarm clock, right? Because this is one that I struggle with sometimes, and like I said, that's why it's one of my daily non-negotiables, because I want to make sure that I quantify it and give it some meaning. But excuse me, If the decision is only I'm going to get up and go to the gym because I want to have muscles, right? Like, it's a lot more probability you're going to hit that alarm clock in the morning. But if you can go through exercises to ultimately tie, like you talked about, right, is hey, I have this bigger purpose that God has given me, and in order to be equipped for that purpose, I have to do these little things, right? They're going to stack these wins, stack these skills and experiences so I can go out and fulfill my purpose. Then that decision, like you said, is much bigger than just let me hit my snooze button because I don't feel like going to the gym. It's like, no, if I hit my snooze button, I am literally like pissing God off because I'm not acting in alignment with his will for me, and like that's a different decision.
So true. And especially if you follow Christian ideals, then like you have a God who literally came down to earth and not only was tortured and nailed to a cross for you, but he actually took all of your pains and sins on his back so that you are saved. So he's already given you that gift. So he took everything and paid for you already. So if I'm going to snooze my alarm, I'm pissing on his gift. If I truly understand that gift, then I'm going to take every opportunity to put something on the altar to be in that sacrifice with him. I can't do it for him. I'm not going to help him. But if I can get in there with him, like put me in, coach, put me on the front line with you, like I have a hard time even accepting such a gift. So let me live my life in such a way where I can maybe carry a little bit of that cross, or at least feel like I am, so I can be a part of it. Like, how can I now repay you? He's like, you can't repay me, but if you want to come fight with me for my purposes and actually stand up and become a weapon for me, then come. You don't have to. I already paid it for you. But like any good man who sees that kind of gift is like, I owe you everything. I owe you my sleep, my food, my needs, my pain, my fear. All of it is yours. So this is why this year I leaned in so hard on that. I was not like this a year ago when we spoke, Trust. But I seek spiritual meaning in my life. I want to pile on meaning behind everything. I don't even care if it's true, but it works. So it works very well. And there's so much emotion behind it. And I'm like, if this isn't real, then I don't know what is.
Dude, I'd love to dive into the kind of religion, Christianity thing. And this is not where I thought the conversation was going, but I think it's going to be a really valuable conversation. So I grew up in a Southern Baptist home, right? So Christian upbringing. And as I've grown older, I've kind of had these ebbs and flows, and I'm honestly not really sure where I stand right now. Like we go to church, most Sundays, we sing the songs and I get value from the messages, but I think deep down it's like, I believe that obviously there's the universe and there's some type of universal energy, right? And the way I kind of look at it is there's positive energy, there's negative energy, right? There's something that's for you, there's something that's in opposition, right? And like my job is to try to lean into that positive energy as much as I possibly can. But I'm having struggles with the concept of Jesus and Christianity, just honestly over the last like 2 to 3 years, I think. And it's so funny, Kyle. It's because of an onset of all this bullshit that we've had in our culture, our political sphere, and kind of opening the eyes to like, man, everybody's just complete full of bullshit, right? And so it's like, well, who's to say that this concept of Jesus wasn't just created to keep people in line, right? And like, you know what I'm saying? And to keep them from going out and fulfilling their destiny and all that stuff, right? And so, like, I believe 100% wholly, like, in God, and there's a creator, and there's this positive and negative energy forces. And like I said, I don't know what to think about Jesus and
you're exactly where you're supposed to be, bro. You don't have to struggle. Like, all you got to do is go like this. Control, Alt, Delete. Everything you've ever learned about God or Jesus or religion, and just reopen the whole concept,
Mm-hmm.
start right where you're at right now. Start, I feel a voice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that voice is, but I'm going to listen to it. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to that voice, and where you are supposed to go, it will guide you. And it will usually guide you into things like quitting your job and starting.
Yeah. Just look at my life for the last 2 months.
It's going to put you in a place where you literally step off the cliff and you're like bouncing on the rocks on the way down. And you're like, well, that was a bad idea. And God's going, no, that was right. And you're like, how is this right? Like, I feel like I'm on the verge of death. Like, I can't even breathe. I'm fucking catatonic. And what he's doing is just like preparing you for the next and the next and the next. And the thing with Jesus is like, all you have to do, you don't have to believe anything. You just listen to that voice, bro. Just listen to that voice and be open in your mind and heart, and let whatever comes come. I just stopped fighting it, and I stopped forcing it.
Yeah.
I was like, I am the church. Me and God. God is not in a box. He is what he is, a free-flowing energy that I don't understand. And so I'm going to ask him to reveal himself to me for me, not the way any culture told me or any of my friends think I should believe. Like, I'm going to find it for myself. And when I took ownership of that, everything 100 times, like the meaning in my life.
Yeah.
And then the pain and the fear in my life actually brought me to a place of seeking, to where now when I'm going into a dark pit, that's some of the times where I'm most connected and have some of the greatest epiphanies and connections and understandings and wisdom, is when I'm in that place of like, help, I don't fucking know what to do. Am I on the right track? And you're in this place where you're on your knees looking up. Because you get to the top of the mountain, you're like, I'm good. And then you stop praying, you stop seeking, because you don't need anything anymore. And the only way to continue to seek and pray is to create a new vision. And make that vision your purpose. And that vision and your purpose creates that gap to where you realize, I haven't even started yet. I'm a baby. Like, if I'm not there, what am I? And so you keep yourself from getting complacent by creating a purpose just as powerful once you reach that next place that you thought you'd be happy. But it's going to require you to go into the darkness again. Again. So you're like, things are good. Why would I do that? It's like, because I feel called to.
Yeah, and that right there, right? That because I feel called to, I view that as the voice of God, right? And the voice of that positive energy pulling you into something that you're uncomfortable with, but it's ultimately the path you need to go on. And I tell you what, man, I have fought that for years, brother. And kind of going down this traditional route, right? Of the 9-to-5 job and safety for my family, and all the while just being completely fucking miserable. On the inside, right? Because knowing that, like, I am, like knowing I am being called for something, and like what that ultimately is, like, I don't know, like we'll see where it goes, right? But I know there's a calling there, and to have that faith, right, to take the first step, and like you said, it's not going to be smooth sailing by any stretch of the imagination. It's going to be you stepping off, and you think there's going to be a bridge there that you can't see, but like you fall down at the fucking cliff, and you bounce off 4 or 5 times. You're like, well, I thought this was the right direction, but to me, man, it's like,
take the step, bro. And then you're like, that was a terrible idea. And God's like, no, this is exactly what needs to happen. And you're just like, I don't like this. And he's like, I know.
Yeah. I've started to view those kind of setbacks as like these tests from God, in the universe of like, how bad do you want it? Right. Like, you say this is what you want to do. Like, do you think it's going to be super easy? Like, no, I'm going to throw obstacles in your way to test you and to get you ready ultimately to be the person that you need to be. So as hard as that freaking is, and it's very difficult, is trying to have that mindset of like, these are just tests and obstacles that I'm going to get over one way or the other. Either that or I'm going to die, right? I'm either going to get over it or I'm going to die. And either way, there's going to be an end.
I'm willing to die for my purpose. Dude, you get there, then like that's a game changer. When you're like, this is so important to me that I will die for this. That's the next level. And the crazy thing is like a lot of times people don't want to go there because it's emotionally painful. So like when your bank account is getting drained because you're putting things in a certain direction or you're hoping this works and you cut this off because of time constraints and you're watching the Titanic hit the iceberg, there are very uncomfortable feelings that happen inside. And your wife's like, are you okay? And you're like, most guys are like, yeah, I'm fine, babe. I'm fine. Like it's okay to be like, no, I'm pretty fucked up right now. But there's also like a pride in knowing that like you're willing, and most motherfuckers are scared and they won't go. And there's this other thing, if you can check your ego and just two things. One, just give your heart to God and trust. But two, take your ego and throw it in the future. Like throw it 10 years into the future and be like, I'm going to come back for you. Right now, I'm a piece of shit loser. Okay, I accept that. And I'm just going to live in that fact, but I'm coming for you. So watch me, motherfuckers, because I am never going to quit. Wait, ever. And for me personally, like I'm many years in this game of just showing up at a very high level for myself, my family, my business. I already know I'm never going to stop. Once you get to the point where you just know how you show up and you're never going to stop, you just created your future. Like you can see the future. And so all the setbacks and judgments of people and worry about people seeing you fail kind of goes away because you're just like, oh, I'm going to show you a story that's going to blow your mind.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I've been struggling with is the need for other people's approval. And you know, like I have an idea of a concept of where that stems from, right? It goes back to childhood, which like most of our traumas, right, and these limiting beliefs we have go back to these ingrained subconscious things from our childhood. And so like I know that, and I know that's something that I'm challenged with. But I know that to step into the man that I'm supposed to become, like I've got to wipe that from the plate. And so I have this mantra that I try to say in the morning, of kind of craft the vision for my future, right? And I say it as if I'm already there, right? To kind of paint that future vision of being a reality. But then I say what's required to get there, right? And like for me, what's required to get there is I have to live in it. I have to be comfortable being uncomfortable is number one. I have to remove my upper limit problem, which if you've read the book, The Big Leap, I just got through that one. So I've got a couple upper limit problems, and so I've got to remove those. And then lastly is I have to remove the need for other people's approval. And so I'd love to talk about that, right? Is as you're, because there's probably a lot of guys that are listening right now, right, that want to start stepping into that. They hear that, the voice of God, right, for lack of a better word, like that probably is what it is, you're being pushed in a certain direction and we're fearful. And a lot of times it's because of we're afraid of what other people might think, right? And so like, how do you get over that? And just tying it back to the bigger vision, the bigger purpose of becoming the man you're supposed to be.
Telling the truth. Exposure. The practice of exposure. Practice of exposing your weaknesses. Being absolutely authentic. So as you live your life and you don't hide anything from anyone. So like I had some imposter syndrome because I was making some big moves and spending a lot of money on shotgun style, like any marketing, any stage, any coach, any ad spend. I was like millions of dollars just pumping it in. And here I am living in like a $9 million house, renting, but still. And I had like $100,000 in my bank account. And I'm like, what a fucking hypocrite. And so I started telling the world my story, like, and telling them, like, I kind of feel like a loser. Like, and that was very painful. Like, I felt I was ashamed. It was embarrassing. The more I told the story, the more high-level motherfuckers were reaching out to me. And they're like, hey, Kyle, I'm broke. You understand? Because that's how I built my shit. And now I'm going to the next level and I'm broke again. Yeah, me. Like, the guy who's fucking annihilating and top of the game. Yeah. And I got the fucking revenue, but I want to 10 times this shit. He's like, you're right where you need to be, bro. Kept hearing this over and over again. The story, bro, you're a fearless motherfucker. That's you. You built what you built because you go all in on everything and you risk it all every time. You walk on a razor blade's edge of failure. Have pride in that. Fuck these other guys. And I was like, damn, that's an absolute shift in my story. And so I let that story in. But now I don't care if I have, at the end of the month, have 50 cents in my bank account. I'm the motherfucker that goes for it. And like, is not afraid to push, try things, learn, invest. And if I have to contract at some point, like, fuck it, who cares? Oh, look, he failed. I'm like, oh, bro, I haven't even started yet. Like, just watch, motherfucker. So like, there's a couple thoughts and concepts where like, the view of yourself is the fact that you move and go and continue to push. That's the thing that matters. Anytime you're around like people that are actually have built some amazing shit, like, they're going to respect the small guy coming up who's risking it all and putting it all in. And to me, those are the guys that matter because those are the guys that I respect and look up to. I care what they think, but these idiots that have never experienced anything that I've gone through, they've never built a massive movement. They've never gone in the darkness with hundreds of men and taken their heart and put it with this guy in this fucked up place over and over again, day after day for years, and then try to raise 5 kids and build my wife's movement at the same time and keep my body fucking tight at the same time and try not to go completely insane. Like, anybody who doesn't juggle life like that and is winning, I don't give a fuck what they think. They can't even fathom what my life is like. In fact, if they stepped into what I feel daily, they would probably end up a puddle of mush on the floor. Like, they can't even fathom the pressure and the stress. So there's a pride in there as a man, knowing that you're leaning into that and that you can handle it.
Yeah, dude. Look, let's get somewhat practical here, Kyle. Like, I think I'm 100% on board, man. I think if we can tie in the things that we do every day to a much bigger purpose and a much bigger vision, it's going to be easier to do. Right? It's going to make us. It's going to force us to take action. Otherwise, we're just pieces of shit, right at the end of the day. Because if we ultimately craft that vision, we know it's super important to do it, and then we don't do it, like, we've got an issue there we need to address, right? But like, how do we build that vision? I mean, outside of giving ourselves space and time to receive that, like, are there some things that we can do to try to craft that vision for ourselves?
Yeah, I mean, across the board, you got your 4 parts. Right? You have your physical body, so we have to create a vision in that. You have your wife and your kids, so there has to be focus on that, targets for that. You have your connection to God, and then you have building your kingdom, your business, handling your money. So, like, these are all important pieces. And in the end, if you take all those pieces and you connect them to that spiritual connection, give them all meaning, you're going to be more motivated and clear to do the things that are necessary. So, first of all, your body. Like, what do I want to look like? What do I want to feel like? Who am I going to hire to get me there? Too many of you idiots don't hire coaches. I have coaches for everything. Like, people are like, Kyle, I want what you have. I want to be like you. I want your family. I'm like, okay, you need to spend some fucking money on some coaches. And they're like, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, you want what I have, but you're not willing to do what I do in order to have what I have. It's stupid. So get a plan, get a coach, so that they keep you on target. And then your business, same thing. Same thing. Where do you want it? Where is it now? Where do I want it to go? What are the main pieces that I need to do this year in order to get to where I want to go? What are the targets I need to focus on? Then break that into monthly, break that into weekly, break that into daily. And everything has to connect to that vision. And you do it across the board. And then you have your day. That's how you structure your day, is based upon where you want to go with your year, in your body, with your wife, with your kids, in your business, and with connection to God. How am I going to improve each of these things to get to my vision? What do I have to do every single day in order to stay on track?
Do you recalibrate from time to time?
All the time.
Yeah.
I'll recalibrate my year. I'll be mid-month and I'll be like, that's stupid. We're going to change that because that doesn't make any sense now. Because, like, things change so much. It's like one thing that you thought was going to get you here, you end up realizing that this is a distraction or it's unnecessary. So you just cut it out and replace it. Like, all the time. Constantly reevaluating and changing kind of like the how.
Yeah, we have, so I mean, similar to what you have, we have our 4 pillars inside the company for the Epic Dad company. And it's funny, as you're saying, I was like, hey, those pretty much perfectly aligned with what we have, right? I mean,
yeah, dude. Like, if you're in the self-development game, like, it's going to be the same shit. Body, being, balance, business.
Yeah, we've got body, relationships, mind, financials. Yeah, be real, motherfucker. That's how I remember it. But it's same thing. It's like, you know, the kind of first, so we have this Epic Dad framework that we built out over the last probably 2 years, right? Of just having these type of conversations, like my own personal development work, like what we've seen work with some of our community. And you know, it really starts with identity and values for us. And like in order to know like where you want to go, like we first need to know who we are. You know, is like what is important to me, and like how am I going to show up? And so like that's our identity, and then we go into values, which is what's important to me. How am I going to filter my decisions, right? And so we have personal values, we have family values, because you're the leader of the home. You need to craft those, you know, in support with your wife, and then we dive into vision, right? Because now we know this is who I am, this is what's important to me. Now let me craft the vision, right? And so we do that, and then it's same thing, right? We go down to mission and say, okay, how do we take that vision and make that more tactical and practical, and create a mission around that in those 4 categories. And so just, I mean, it also just goes down to like goal planning 101, right? Is you have the ultimate in vision, you got to make it practical. And then you got to, you know, basically bucketize those and then break that down into monthly, weekly, daily steps. It takes a lot of time to do it. And I think that you do need to recalibrate from time to time, right? And make those decisions on, should I continue forward? Should I not on this? Where do I need to pivot? And then I think where you need to get to is on some basis, maybe it's quarterly, maybe it's once a year, but it's to revisit that vision as well, because that's going to be very important. And like I've been guilty of this too, where I'm just head down, white knuckling it, grinding, doing the work, but then I started to feel like in a rut and feel overwhelmed and stressed and anxious because I don't know what I'm doing it for, right? I'm just doing it to check a box. But like we need to tie that box checking to a much broader vision.
Yeah, I look at mine every day.
Okay.
Every single day, and then a deep dive every week. I mean, it's probably 5 to 8 hours a week of planning.
Wow.
Like, and that might be like a disconnect for most people, is they don't realize how much they need to structure and schedule and prioritize their days. Because I had a day like that yesterday where I didn't really plan it good enough, and like I have all these things I'm working on, so I started working on one and then got distracted to another, and then I'm like not really getting anything done. I was like, fuck, dude, this is like how I used to do shit, where I don't like you got to start something and then like go like finish that shit. But then you have to believe that that's the most important thing. And if you haven't put the time in to like find a reason for that to be the thing, then you're constantly doubting while you're working on it, feeling like you should be doing something else. And so you lose your focus on it, and that you get frustrated, and then you feel like you didn't do anything.
Yeah, it sounds very familiar.
Yeah, I'm in a weird spot because like I have a team that's like building out my ad campaign, building out my pages, working on my copy, and then my brother's handling all the front end sales. My coaches are handling like most of the coaching shit on the like entry level program, and so I have space, and in this space has actually created more frustration for me because I'm trying to now be more of a creator and visionary, and I'm trying to find myself in that spot. I find myself drifting back into sales and marketing all the time, and I'm like I need to stay out of that and see the vision of where we're going and start to create that, like writing my book or planning events in the future or writing new angles and hooks and headlines and copy and actually envisioning the future, because it's so easy to get stuck in the day-to-day stuff. Revenue and profit and coaching. It's like, okay, how do we now make this 10 times better?
Tell me more about your planning process. I'm very curious to know about that, right? At the time you invest in that, like what does that look like on a day-to-day basis? Are you connecting with that in the evening to plan the day ahead? Are you connecting with it in the morning to make sure you're squared for the day ahead? Like what does that look like tactically?
Yeah, so the app I partnered up with Garrett with is the Impossible Game, and it's been epic. So I do at night and the morning as well, because in the morning I go in and do my stack, which is like my journal entry, and in the stack, like I have I use it to actually pray. So there's something called a prayer stack in there, and you can use the tool however you want. It's just a tool. It's not freaking magic, it's just tools. But if you use it to pray, the idea with prayer is to speak your truth to God and then listen and receive. But the problem is sometimes I'll listen and I'll feel. It's powerful. I'll feel. But then nothing is recorded. And if you look at like scripture, like they felt and then they wrote. And so in my stacks, I'll pour my heart out to God with what's going on, and then I'll receive. And what I feel now, I write. So now I'm getting answers. And again, going back to this idea, like if you believe in God, then God answers prayers. Otherwise, there is no God. Like, let's either go all in or all out. Not just put our toe in and be like, yeah, I think there's a God. It's like, is there a God or is there not? If there is, then just believe in him, believe that he answers you. If you believe that, now you go into this place where you can receive. Like the other day, I was typing it out, and in my typing of receiving, God tells me, he's like, it's early, you're tired, go to sleep, I have something to show you. Literally typing this out, like God's voice. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to roll with this. We're going to believe in magic. Go to sleep, have a complete vision of all of my ad campaign. Total vision, clarity. I write it all out of exactly my target, who I'm supposed to serve, and I filmed those ads 8 hours that day. Came to me that morning in my stack. Like, if this is real, that you can actually tap in to God's voice and he can tell you your ad campaign. So here's what I'm saying. People will be like, oh, that's bullshit. And I'm like, maybe, but it opens up a piece of my mind that I can't get to myself. And so I just...
Yeah, whether it's God, whether it's the positive energy, whether it's the universe, whatever it is, right? There's something there. Yeah.
I don't care. They're like, you're a crazy man. This crazy Kyle runs Superhuman Fathers, talks to God, and says the F word a lot.
That should be the bio for this episode. Kyle, he runs Superhuman Fathers, he says the F word a lot.
But the fact is, if you can open up that creative piece of your mind and hear God's voice, like you can be guided. Like I had a whole experience being guided how to pull my son out from the darkness that he was in. Like a whole plan sketched out from receiving from my prayer. And I'm like, why would I not do this every day? In that process of stacking, I'll review my game for the year, for the month, for the week, and then I'll go over my day and how that attaches to the week.
Okay.
And then I'll move over all my daily stuff into my achieved every single day. And then I'm part of another group where they score us every day. And then I do the same thing for my guys. So like I have a score. Midweek, they'll post all your scores. High accountability shit. So like everyone sees each other's scores with 10 other guys that are very high level motherfuckers. So if I'm at the bottom of the list, they're like, what the fuck, Kyle? Like, you say you believe in this, you say this is your purpose, but you can't even.
Yeah. I love that, dude. Yeah, I mean, two points to that. One is accountability. I want to come back to that and the competitiveness, but I want to get very tactical. I'm loving this conversation about about God and prayer. What are some of the things that you do to prime yourself for prayer to receive? That's one thing that I've been challenged with. Of like, I can sit down and tell God what I'm thinking, right? But like, unless I'm in the right state of mind, it's very hard for me to receive that.
Yep. So, it's a practice. One, there's literally a flexing of your soul. It's like a muscle. So I'm learning how to like sit in it, take my mind and put it in my heart and open up. And when I open up, I can receive. That's taken a lot of time. But when I get up in the morning at the time that I said I would, and then I take a cold shower, and in that cold shower, I talk to God and I say, I'm going to get in this stupid cold shower to prove to you that I'm dedicated to you today.
I'm writing that down.
Like, that's the dedication. And a lot of times in my mind, I picture Jesus' sacrifice, picture him on the cross. Like, this is stupid. It's a cold shower. It's nothing like anything that you did for me. But in this moment, I'm going to put this as a sacrifice and an altar to just prove my commitment to the day, to myself and to you. And then I go downstairs and I put on usually it's on Spotify. I put in Christian meditation music and I put it on my phone. And then I prepare my mind and I open my sliding door and I walk outside and I expect God to fill me. I expect it. And then I just go out and I just feel. I just let it in. Stop fighting it. Stop doubting. Just like let the power in. And there are times when I feel it less and more. And usually it has to do with my stubbornness, my walls. Like, I still have walls with my wife. Like, I still have walls with her. Like, I still feel it. And I know that the walls with my wife are still keeping me not as connected to God as I could be. This is like a recent finding for me. And this is across the board. Wherever you currently are in your life right now, you can 100 times it, including the connection with your wife. To all comparisons, like, we have the best marriage in the world. Like, I've literally never seen anything like it. And when I actually look at it and I see clearly, I still have walls.
Yeah.
And that relationship with your wife is very similar to your relationship with God. Your ability to be vulnerable and open up to her will determine your ability to open up to God.
Yeah, and vice versa.
Experience with the men that I work with is like, if they have a hard time letting her in, and it's hard, bro. It's hard. Like, it's hard. It's hard. My wife will hug me during the day. She'll be like, come here. And I'm like in war mode. And I'm like trying to get away. I'm like, all right, can this be over? Like, I got shit to do, you know? And, and then we get to nighttime and I'm like, all right, blowjob time. She's like, you haven't even looked at me all day. And I'm like, yeah, but we have a great marriage. Let's have sex and then check the box. She's like, that doesn't work for me. Like, I need to be warmed up during the day. And I'm like, shit, how do I go to war and then also warm you up during the day? I'm like, this is a conundrum. So I'm in the middle of figuring that shit out. I don't want to just have sex, dude. Like I don't want my wife to just be just be like willing. Like I want my wife to just be like so like at night, just be like, I can't wait to know this. Like that's what I want from my wife, and I haven't quite cracked that code.
Yeah, let me know if you do.
Well, this is the next level that I'm after in my marriage, is try to get my wife like really hot for me. She's not like a super instigator, you know, like I instigate, she's always down, it always ends well. And it's like, you know, I'm pretty skilled in that department, so like I can make it happen, but I'm like there's another level here.
Yeah. Are you like, one of the challenges I have, and I'll talk, you know, about me and my wife too, is like same thing, right? Is during the day, like I want to go fucking build and like be in the zone and stuff, right? And then I have always had trouble. I still continue to have trouble with like emotional connection, you know, it just because I'm in the zone and like that I'm like single focus, right? And you know, she wants to just know that she's important, right? That she's the most important thing to me. So, but where I've been challenged, right? And it's so funny because I've been part of men's groups and things like that, right? Where they're like, no, you need to like schedule time. You need to like do these little habits for her and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that works for a certain extent. But then she feels like, well, you're just checking the fucking box now. Like, you don't really care. Like, it's just because you want to check all your boxes is why you're texting me. Yeah. And it's like, well, like, all right, you know.
Well, so there's this opening up and emotional connection that she needs from me. And here's the crazy shit. I can do this really well with my guys. I can go to that place with my clients and take them there. And on occasion, I can do that with my wife, but for some reason, there's this resistance to really, truly be the spiritual leader for my wife. We're like the channel of God to my wife with an open heart and actually be emotional with her. There's a resistance to that. And I'm like, I'm going to break this shit. Like, I will break this shit. It's going to happen this year. I'm going to figure this out because I've done the same thing. Is like, check the boxes, go like, give her a hug, send her a text, and then she knows what I'm doing. She's like proud of me. She's like,
yeah.
Oh, you're so disciplined. But like being so disciplined, like it makes her respect me, but it doesn't make her like overly hot for me.
Yeah, there's not an emotional connection there, you know.
Now, if I wasn't disciplined at all, that's a whole nother level where she's like, you're disgusting, get away from me, I have no respect for you. Then you're in a whole nother pit. So the pit I'm in right now is a great place to be. We're trying to go from great to absolutely exceptional.
Yeah. Well,
what's me in places that's frustrating.
Dude, I wrote down a lot of things. So like during these conversations, I mean, it's as much value for me as it is for the listeners, right? Of you know, taking some key takeaways. But I wrote down this right here, and I think this is going to help me, especially in the mornings. I struggle in the mornings, right? Like I'll be the first to admit it. I struggle with the fucking snooze, right? And it's because I don't tie the purpose to something bigger, and like it's the fuck it that comes up, right? It's like, well, who fucking cares, you know? But tying that purpose, and I wrote this down about you going into the cold shower, that I'm getting into this cold shower to prove to God how much I care. This is my sacrifice. I think that is huge, man. That hit me in a really, really tough way, right? Of like the reason that I am sacrificing to be disciplined is not just to get muscles. It's not just to get abs. It's not so the other dads are jealous of me at the pool. Like that's cool, right? That's cool. But like, that's not why I'm doing it. Like I am doing it because God has given me a purpose in my life, and I am pissing on it if I don't go after it, and show him how much that means to me with my action, right? And not just my words. So I wrote that down. I hope you guys will as well when you think about, you know, getting up and getting after it in the morning and attacking the day.
Break my heart. That's what I ask God to do every day. Break my heart. Help me care. I care than anyone in this world. Help me care more for them than they could possibly care for themselves. Fill me with your love. Because with that, I will show up in power. And I will be willing to say or do anything to get you to move. That is where I have to be. Whenever I'm out of that place, I have to find it. That is the place that I am most effective in what I do. You will be the most effective in what you do when you care the most. The only place you can get that is from God.
Okay, man,
I don't care what you're building. Build something to give back to Him. It's not for you. Will you benefit from it? Absolutely you will. I tell God, fill me with abundance if I can handle it. If I can separate it from me. If I can keep my heart on you and you give me abundance so I can be a light and an example to inspire others. But if my heart is set on the things, then take it from me. Because I'd rather have you than the things. You see the difference here? This is the difference. I'm willing to give it all away at any point. There's power in that. Because now you're willing to take risks. And when you do lose it, you're willing. Because again, it's on the altar.
I love you, brother.
Love you too, man.
So you are impacting so many dads, man, in such a positive way that's creating this cultural shift. And I just love the vision you're on and the impact you're having, man. So you've got full support here, from myself, from our community, just to go out and fucking crush, man.
Yeah, thanks for keeping in touch with me, man. I know it's busy and it's hard. And, a lot of my relationships just kind of fall away just because we're busy. And you're really good at staying connected. I appreciate it.
Awesome, man. Well, guys, hey, if you got value from this episode, which I freaking know you did, so this part is required, is drop us a review and send this to one other dad in your network. We've talked about a lot of stuff here today with Kyle, and one of the things is there's so many dads that are struggling out there, right? That everything looks great on the outside, but on the inside they're just dying, man. And this episode might be what they need, right, to take the first step to really fulfilling their purpose and to find fulfillment in life, and to start showing up. So share this with one dad in your network, and leave us a quick review. That would mean the world to us. And Kyle, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Yeah, my pleasure, man.
Absolutely. All right, guys. We will. That's right, man. We will see you on episode 101.
Thank you so much for listening to the show and supporting our mission to change the culture by creating more epic dads. If this message resonates with you and you're ready to start becoming the husband, father, and man that you were called to be, I'd like to invite you to do two things. The first is to join our free online community called the Epic Dad Crew. Inside the crew, you will get access to resources, workout programs, courses, community, everything you need to start leveling up as a dad. We are not meant to be lone wolves. We are meant to be part of a tribe, surrounded by men that will challenge us and hold us accountable to living as our best selves. So hit the link in the description of this episode and join the Epic Dad Crew today. And if you are ready to accelerate your results and create massive change in your life, I'd like to invite you to join our 90-day Epic Dad Accelerator. Our goal with the Accelerator is to help you create an unshakable foundation as a husband and a father, build unstoppable discipline and habits, get into incredible shape with a custom workout and nutrition plan, and provide massive accountability to becoming the type of man you want to become. If you are ready to radically change your life as a father in just 90 days, hit the link in the description of the show to learn more and see if the Accelerator is a good fit for you. Thanks for listening. Now go be epic.